Hello everyone, welcome back to Bookmas. Today I think is day 3 of Bookmas and I'm going to be reading winter thrillers for 24 hours. So I'm just going to turn on my Kindle and check what thrillers I've got on here, because a couple of weeks ago I downloaded a bunch of like wintry, not really holiday like Christmas thrillers, but like very wintry thrillers like set in the snow. I put them all in my thriller folder, but I can't remember what I actually picked. So yeah, we're going to take a look at them now and pick our first read. Okay, so I have 4 winter thrillers on my Kindle. I've also got winter animals on my bookshelves. Where is it? Yeah, I've also got this one physical read that I might pick up during this readathon, because if you watched my festive TBR jar picks, my December reads video, you'll know that this is one of the books that I picked to read this month. So it would be great to fit it in. It is, I believe, categorized as a thriller and it's very wintry. Obviously it's set at a ski resort. So yeah, this could be a good option, although I feel like it's more on the literary side and I don't know if that's my mood. So I don't think I'll pick this one first, but I will keep it in the back of my mind for later on in the 24 hours. So yeah, I'm gonna pop it back for now. But yeah, we are going to pick one of these books. So I've got Writer's Retreat by J.P. Coquette. I've got No Exit by Taylor Adams, which I know is super popular. One by One by Frida McFadden. And then I've also got an Agatha Christie collection called Midwinter Murder. So that's like if I want a more cozy kind of murder mystery vibe rather than like straight up dark thriller. But yeah, I think for now I'm going to pick between the first 3, so I'll pop them on screen. This is what we're picking between. I don't know what most of them are about, I just saw good reviews, so we're going to take a look at Goodreads. Okay, so Writer's Retreat. A full week away to write in a rustic home deep in the Vermont woods with a handful of other writers will be just what Flora needs to rekindle her creative spark. Secretive staff, no electricity, a missing writer, and unanswered questions about the retreat centre's dark past are just the beginning. As hard as it was to get into the retreat, getting out will be even harder. That sounds so much fun. I'm gonna see if any of my friends have read it. No, I don't think a single one of my friends has actually read this book, which I don't know if that's a good thing. Can't be a good thing. So yeah, let's go on and check No Exit. Okay, this one's gonna be absolutely terrifying, but I have heard really great reviews. A kidnapped little girl locked in a stranger's van, no help for miles, what would you do? Darby Thorne is a college student stranded by a blizzard at a highway rest stop in the middle of nowhere. She's on the way home to see her sick mother. She'll have to spend the night in the rest stop with 4 complete strangers. Then she stumbles across a little girl locked inside one of their parked cars. There is no cell phone reception, no telephone, no way out because of the snow, and she doesn't know which one of the other travellers is the kidnapper. I feel like this is probably going to be the one with like the most horror elements to it, because that sounds absolutely terrifying and like really dark. Most of my friends on Goodreads have given it 5 stars. That is very promising. And then the last one is One by One by Frida McFadden. A lot of my Goodreads friends have read it, but it is very, very mixed reviews. Claire's minivan breaks down on a lonely dirt road with no cell reception. The group has no choice but to hike the rest of the way to their hotel. As they navigate the woods, the members of the party are struck down mysteriously one by one. Has a wild animal been hunting them, or is the hunter one of them? That is super mysterious. I feel like that's the one that gives the least away. Interesting. Oh my god. Okay, what am I in the mood for? I don't know why. I feel like the first one, Writer's Treat, is really calling me, so I might start with that one. This is the one where none of my friends reviewed it, by the way. It's a bit of a gamble. I just feel like it sounds the most fun, like a writer's retreat in a log cabin in Vermont. Like, it sounds really good. And then go on to No Exit like later in the nighttime hours. At the moment it's just gone midday, so hopefully I can read and finish Writer's Retreat by tonight and then pick up No Exit. I feel like that's a solid plan, and we'll see where we go. So it actually says that it's going to take me less than 5 hours to read. I'm so excited. I'm going to get reading now, make myself a coffee probably to get myself going, and I will update you guys once I've made a good way into this book. Hello everyone, I am 25% of my way through Writer's Retreat. Obviously, like I said, it does seem to be quite a short read, which is a great one to start with. We're introduced to the main character Flora, who is on her way to a writer's retreat in the middle of the woods in Vermont, and it's November, it's pouring rain, and she gets to the retreat, and like already from the offset everything feels a little bit off. The woman that meets her at her car and like grabs her bag is just a little bit creepy, and like, yeah, it's just very unsettling basically. And she finds out there's no Wi-Fi, there's no running water, there's no electricity, like she can't charge her phone, and she can't use her laptop. She has to use like pen and paper to do her writing. And then straight off the bat, one of the other writers there starts to like act very shady and kind of like freaks out. It's like she's having a mental breakdown, and she's absolutely petrified of the workers. She's asking Flora to drive her away as soon as possible, and then she disappears. So that's the bit that I'm up to, and it's also really creepy because Flora's keys, like car keys, are missing. So obviously something super sinister is happening, but I can't for the life of me think what it could be. So yeah, it's a great start, and I feel like I'm really happy I chose this one because I just want to keep reading. But we are going to pause the timer now. I'm currently an hour and a half into the readathon, but we're going to pause it because I'm about to go out with Jamshed to go to like a little cafe and grab something to eat. So I'm just going to pause the timer while we do that and start it up when we get back. And then yeah, hopefully I won't be pausing the timer for the rest of the readathon. But yeah, that's my little update, an hour and a half into the readathon. Hello, just updating the vlog quickly to say that I think Jamshed might be starting The Secret History right now. He asked me for a book recommendation recently, and I gave him Kim Ji-young, born 1982, and he thought it was okay, but I think he just wants like a longer book, and he just wanted another recommendation, which is incredible, and I'm not going to question it. He said maybe he should read The Secret History because he knows it's my favourite book, and I think he's about to start it now, so let's see if he brings it downstairs. But we're just going to have like a reading session on the couch. I've got the fire going on our tiny TV, and I've got all the lights on, like it's super cute and cozy in here. So the plan is to read for a little bit and then make dinner, which will be a really nice break. But I'm currently 44% of the way through, and I've just got over 2 hours left of reading apparently, according to my Kindle. A while has passed. We went out for a walk, we came back, I read, we had dinner, we watched Taskmaster, he left. We are 7 hours in, and I only just finished Writer's Retreat. So yeah, I did have another short break to have dinner, and we watched an episode of Taskmaster, and then Jamshed left. I'm here by myself for the rest of the night and tomorrow for the rest of the readathon basically. And I did think I would finish this like 3 hours ago, but anyway. But yeah, I'm finished, and I actually don't know what to think. Like, it was not at all what I was expecting, and it was just intense and extremely creepy. I don't love this kind of direction that this thriller took. It's just not my kind of thing. I kind of like a certain type of thriller. I'm trying to think of what I could compare it to, like my favorite thrillers. I would say one of my favorite thrillers is Girl on the Train. I do like a couple of Riley Sagers. I like Last Time I Lied and Vinyl Girls, I think it's called. I actually really like The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley and want to read more like that. If you want a kind of winter thriller, that one is set in, I think, the Scottish Highlands, and it's all like snowy and the whole group gets snowed in. I didn't love the ending of it, but that is the kind of thriller that I really like. I like when it's like a group of people that already know each other. There's already a lot of drama and like tension within the group. Oh, where did this go? How long was this bow knot in my hair? Oh no. So yeah, I like that type of thriller where you have like a group, like an established group, and things to do with that group and like their history and the drama between them is ultimately why someone gets murdered or why things go bad. Whereas Writer's Retreat is all about a bunch of strangers. The main character doesn't know anyone before she gets to the retreat, so it's all new people, and it's the kind of thing where already off the bat like you don't really know who you can trust, which can be a lot of fun. But in this case, like I I did not like the theme of the ending. Another thing in this book that I wasn't the biggest fan of was the last act, like the final act of the book was kind of repetitive, and things kept happening that would give us some hope, and then they got snatched away, and it would like happen again and again and again. And I feel like every time that happened, it became like less effective. Like at first it was like shocking, but in the end I wasn't invested anymore because I was thinking how ridiculous it was that it kept happening. I'm kind of debating giving this a 2 or 3 stars because I did really enjoy it, especially the setup in the beginning and the whole setting of it all. And I also love the length of the book. Like I like that it was a bit on the short side. I actually don't know how many pages it was. I can probably find out on Goodreads, because when I'm reading on my Kindle I like to have like the time with the book left and the percent. I don't really like having the page number because I just don't find it as satisfying. Oh my god, I'm literally just seeing this now and it's only got 13 ratings. I don't even know how I found this book. I think I was searching up like winter thrillers and like Christmas thrillers, and this was one that came up on a list, and then I think I saw that it was on Kindle Unlimited, so that's probably the thought process behind how I pick this book. Yeah, it's only 214 pages, and honestly I think that was perfect for the story that it was. If it was any longer I think it would have dragged, and it just didn't need to be. I did enjoy it. I am glad that I picked it up for the first read of this readathon, but yeah, I'm still kind of like torn between 2 and 3 stars. I'm probably thinking it would be like a 2.5 in that case, but yeah, I'm gonna leave it till tomorrow and when I wrap up the vlog to give you guys my final rating of this book. I think reading a couple of other thrillers will probably put it into context of what I should rate it. So I did say earlier that I would like to pick up No Exit by Taylor Adams. Because I'm home alone, like I'm feeling a tiny bit scared, so I feel like I'm chickening out of picking that one. But at the same time I don't want to read the Freida McFadden one by one because that is also set in a woods and like a cabin. I feel like it's too similar to what we've just read. I've decided to pick up No Exit. I know I'm gonna scare myself so much tonight by reading this home alone. I just know it, but I'm gonna read it because I said that I was going to. We're gonna try it and I'm gonna try and be brave and read this thriller. It's not like I haven't done it before. It just freaks me out that it's about an abducted little girl in like a snowstorm. Like it just sounds really bleak and just like unsettling and not like a fun thriller. So yeah, we'll see, but it does make me feel better that a lot of my friends have rated this highly. So yeah, let's settle in and try and make a bit of progress into this before heading up to bed. I'm going to, I think, make myself either a tea or a hot chocolate. I actually don't know what I prefer right now. I'm thinking of hot chocolate just to bring me some comfort when I start this book. And yeah, I'm gonna try and stay awake as long as possible, even if I'm super exhausted tomorrow. I've got my cold brew from Chamberlain Coffee in the fridge. I don't know if you guys watched the last bookmas vlog, but I did a huge unboxing from Chamberlain Coffee, and one of the things I unboxed was a bunch of cold brew bags, and I said I would try out all the flavors throughout bookmas. So tomorrow we're gonna start with the brown sugar flavor. I've popped it in the fridge in a glass with some water in it, and it like brews overnight in the fridge. So we're gonna try that in the morning, and hopefully that will revive me from however late I stay up tonight. Good morning guys. I only managed to stay up till 1:30 last night because I was falling asleep and I got fidgety leg, but yeah, I managed to sleep like 7 hours, so I guess that means we have lost 7 hours. But I've just been reading since I woke up and I'm currently 70% of the way through this book, so I don't have long to go, like an hour and a half of reading roughly, I think. Also, this coffee I wouldn't say it's like my favorite thing ever, but for home brewed coffee it's so nice, and I'm really excited to try out all the other flavors. This is the brown sugar cold brew. I added like a tiny bit of sugar to it as well, because even though it's brown sugar flavored, it isn't like naturally sweet. Yeah, this is really hitting the spot. Anyway, so this book, No Exit, follows Darby. She's driving home through pretty much a snowstorm on the 23rd of December because she's just found out that her mother, who she kind of doesn't talk to, she doesn't have a good relationship with, she has cancer. She only just found out, and she's going to be operated on. So Darby is like rushing to get back to her mother. She said some things in the past that she regretted. Even though she didn't have the best childhood, she didn't want to like leave things on bad terms just in case something bad happened to her mum during the surgery. So she ends up like rushing home in a snowstorm, like across state from where she is at college. So she's just a college student, and she basically has to pull into this rest stop just because the snow is getting way too bad. She almost crashes her car. It's just getting way too unsafe, so she decides to wait out the storm in this rest stop. But when she gets there, there are already 4 other people there. So there's this older couple, there is this guy a couple of years older than she is, she presumes, and then there is this younger guy who she thinks might be around 19. Anyway, he looks really sketchy. So she's basically trying to get service to be able to let her mother or her sister know that she's stuck and she can't get to them, and obviously there's no service at this place. So she goes back out into the car park to try and find signal, and on her way back to the building she goes past this parked van, which is one of theirs, she doesn't know whose, and she sees a little hand at the window. There are bars across the window. It looks like there's material there blocking people from seeing what's inside, but it's kind of like come down so she can see a little bit into this van, and she thinks she sees this child's hand. So immediately she starts freaking out, and she realizes that one of the other people at this rest stop is potentially a child kidnapper, but she needs to find out whose van it is, and she needs to do it really strategically, because if she gives away that she knows what's in that van, she could end up causing absolute carnage, and it could be so much worse, like a matter of life and death for the child, for her. I won't say anything else, but obviously that is the predicament, and it is so intense. There's not going to be like any rescue services for the whole night, not until morning, and it's like 9 p.m. when she gets there, so she has to last the whole night knowing that there's a child kidnapper, potential murderer, in the building. What I will say though is that we find out who is behind it like pretty instantly. I feel like it was within 10% of starting the book. I was imagining that the majority of the book would be her like trying to figure out who it is, but that literally is just the start of the book, and it gets crazy. There are like multiple twists. There's just been another twist that I just read. Things keep getting revealed, which is really good because it's like keeping my attention. I just want to find out why this all began in the first place, why this child was kidnapped. It's just like reveal after reveal, like slowly. It is so well written. The character development, like the characters themselves, like the internal like panic that we're witnessing from our main character, and like just the thought process. I feel like everything she does is like super plausible. Like there is nothing that I hate more when I read a book when a character is in such an intense situation and they just keep making mistake after mistake, but that is not the case with this. There are obviously mistakes that get made, but it's not like frustrating where you're like, oh my god, like why did you do that? Like I would never do that. God forbid you ever find yourself in that situation, no signal, trapped with a potential child kidnapper and like trying to save the child. What would you do in that situation? Like it's just one of those impossible situations, and someone wrote a book about it, and it's brilliant. I really didn't think I would enjoy this. Like I know that there's been like really great reviews, but because of the subject matter, like child kidnapping, like that is so dark, I didn't think I'd be able to enjoy it. But there is like an element of like humor to this book. The tone is just right, because obviously that could be really like distasteful, but everything about this book is actually just brilliant. I'm definitely going to watch the adaptation if I can find it, because I just feel like it would be so good. Like I hope it's done justice because it's such a wild ride. Anyway, I'm really hungry now, so I think I'm actually going to make some pancakes. We've currently got just over 3.5 hours left of this readathon. There's the timer. I think I'm going to switch to the audiobook and just listen to the audiobook while I make my pancakes and have my breakfast, and then hopefully I'll just like finish the rest on my Kindle, because I'm really enjoying reading on my Kindle at the moment. So I don't really want to switch to the audiobook, but just for the sake of multitasking, I'm gonna do it. Also, one more thing, reading this book has definitely, like I thought last night, put into perspective what was lacking about Writer's Retreat. It just did not have like the character development, it didn't have just the twists, and it was, in my eyes, actually really predictable. I didn't guess why the things were going on, but I did guess like who was behind it. I can't quite put it into words, but it just felt like really simple. The plot in that one just wasn't like No Exit. It wasn't gripping, it wasn't twisty, it wasn't like unpredictable. I don't know, like I just want to keep reading No Exit. I'm just desperate to keep reading it. That's why I've read so much since this morning. I didn't even want to update the vlog because I just wanted to keep reading. Basically, No Exit is like a masterclass in how to write a good thriller. It's probably the best one I've ever read, if not the best. Like, I understand the reviews now for sure. I finished No Exit. I've still got 2 hours of the readathon to go, so doing very well. But anyway, this one I think I'll have to give 5 stars because I genuinely think it's the best thriller I've read and one of the best books I've read this year as well. The twist kept going right up until the end, so I was still like just guessing at what was going to happen, and like I just had no clue. There were like some really devastating twists but also some really great ones as well. So yeah, it was just thoroughly enjoyable considering the topic of child abduction. It was one of the most enjoyable thrillers and books that I've ever read. It just kept going with the humour, like it was just so good, and it does make me want to read more books by this author. I think he's called Adam something. Taylor Adams. I really want to read more by Taylor Adams if he has any more. Definitely let me know if you've read any of the books by him and like what you recommend, because that was fantastic. It was also kind of Christmassy because it started on the 23rd of December and finished on the 24th. Some of my favourite books are set over the span of like one night or one day. Each chapter was the time of the night and there were like kind of sections. One of them was called Witching Hour because it was like near 3 a.m. and that's when all of the craziness kicks off. Reading it last night and then picking it back up this morning and finishing it this morning was actually accidentally perfect. I think I started it around 10 p.m. last night or 9 p.m. when the book kicks off, and then I finished it today and the end of the book was actually daybreak, so it was kind of perfect in a funny way. Anyway, I think I'm going to give that book 5 stars, and I think I'm going to give Writer's Retreat 2.5 stars. Like I said, I think that was actually kind of spot on. I might give it 2 stars on Goodreads just because I'm just comparing it to some of my other 3 stars and it is just not really up to par, but I think it would be harsh to give it any less than like 4 out of 10. So yeah, that's kind of where my star ratings are at the moment. I can't believe I read a 5-star thriller in this readathon. I think that was really unlikely. So as I said, we've only got 2 hours of the readathon left. So I think I'm going to pick up Winter Animals by Ashani Lewis and just get as far as I can into this one because it is on my physical TBR for December. And it is somewhat of a winter thriller. It's compared to The Secret History, so it's kind of like literary thriller, but I think the themes are super dark. It's set in the snow. I think this is going to be very different from the other 2 books we've been reading. So anyway, I'm going to start this now and I will keep you guys updated with my initial thoughts going into this book. So we've got exactly 20 minutes before the readathon ends. I just wanted to quickly check in because I think I made a mistake assuming this was going to be like more of a thriller than it actually is. That might have been my mistake, to be honest. I just thought this would be a bit more like The Secret History just because it is compared to The Secret History. It's also compared to The Guest by Emma Cline, which does say it's like a thriller mystery. I think mostly it's just general fiction, as this one is. So anyway, it's not a classic thriller, but it is incredibly dark, and I can understand the comparison to The Secret History because it is ultimately about an outsider who gets involved with a group of young people. They're super privileged. They're kind of like playing at being poor. They're squatting in all of these kind of ski resorts and abandoned houses, and our main character, who's just gone through a divorce, she's been kicked out of her house by the landlord and is practically living out of her car. She just kind of gets wrapped up in their world because she's a bit desperate. She has nowhere really to go, and she meets this group of young people like fresh out of college. They're from England but they've flown over to the US, I think it's set in Oregon, to basically ski and live like nomads, even though they could definitely afford to do it normally. Like, it's super pretentious. I think they're just like attracted to living on the edge. It's just an extremely strange group of people. Anyway, she kind of gets sucked up into this because they actually invite her to come and stay with them. They have like a bit of curiosity about her and they just like accept her into their group, like no questions asked. It's so odd. So yeah, there's like kind of no rhyme or reason to what's going on. They're literally just skiing during the day and then like drinking in this abandoned hotel lobby at night. Honestly, I think this is one of those books that is definitely more character driven than plot driven. There's a lot of reflections on the main character's part of her marriage and like life before her marriage, reflections on sexuality and alcoholism. I don't know how to feel about this one, to be honest, and we don't really have long before the readathon ends, just 15 minutes because I started speaking. So I think I'm just going to continue reading and finish off whatever chapter I'm on. The time is now up and I just made myself a cup of tea to celebrate and congratulate myself for making it through the 24 hours. I ended up getting to chapter 10, which is page 83. I'm really glad I carried on reading because it just got to a chapter that gave a little bit of a backstory to the actual group. Yeah, for the first time in this book we actually got kind of a point of view, like a past point of view from each of the young characters and their lives in the UK, so that was much more interesting and like kind of how they banded together and made the decision they did to go on this trip. So I'm definitely a little bit more intrigued than I was at first. I've kind of put my finger on what this reminds me of. I feel like it's a mixture between like the setup of The Secret History but also like the tone of Eileen by Atessa Moshfegh. I feel like it's just really similar like in setting and like how bleak it is and how sad the main character's life is. Like I think that's kind of what it reminds me of most, but I would also say it's nowhere near as good as either of those. Eileen, I'm pretty sure I gave like 4.5 stars, and The Secret History is obviously a 5-star for me, whereas this one, if I was to predict what I'd be rating this, it's going to be more like 2 or 3 stars. I feel like it's just missing something, like just missing a bit of oomph or like a little bit of heart. Like Atessa Moshfegh's writing, it's bleak but it's not vacant, and I feel like this one, I don't know, I really don't know, I just feel like not much about this book and I think that's a bad thing. So anyway, yeah, sad to end it on a note like that, but I did read pretty much 2.5 books this readathon, so I'm very happy with the books that I read. I would 100% recommend No Exit. Honestly, I couldn't fault it, like it was just perfect and just so much fun. The perfect thriller for this time of year, especially because it's set at Christmas. Like not only is it set in December, it's set like literally in the days leading up to Christmas, and I'm pretty sure I got it on Kindle Unlimited, so if you're interested in reading it from what I've said in this vlog, definitely check it out. Like if you've got a Kindle, I don't feel like you'll regret it. It is a stellar thriller. Okay, so that is it for Bookmas Day 3. I hope you guys really enjoyed this one. I definitely did, and I'm so excited because later in the month, I can't remember which Bookmas video it's going to be, but I will be reading a bunch of holiday romances, like winter Christmas themed romances, and I could not be more excited. I really enjoyed this one and I think I might enjoy that one even more because I am so in the romance mood at the moment. That might be the Bookmas video I'm most excited to film. But yeah, that's it from me today, and I will see you guys in a couple of days with the next Bookmas video. Bye.